It is now my pleasure, truly my pleasure and my honor, to invite Elizabeth O'Hare to the podium. Elizabeth is this year's winner of the Mount St. Mary's University Flanagan Award. This award was established to honor a senior who, in the judgment of the faculty, best represents the traditions of Mount St. Mary's University in scholarship, conduct, and leadership. This is the university's highest honor bestowed upon a student, and I am pleased to introduce Elizabeth to you. Liz embodies the Catholic mission of Mount St. Mary's University. She has succeeded inside and outside the classroom. She majored in biology and biochemistry, interned at Johns Hopkins, observed pediatric and fetal surgeries, published her research, and was a finalist for the prestigious Fulbright Scholarship. Liz's academic accomplishments are only part of the picture. She's lived out her Catholic faith in inspiring and impressive ways. She represented our pro-life student group in a meeting with the Vice President of the United States. Next year, Liz will teach biology to high school students in Los Angeles while earning a Master's of Education from the University of Notre Dame. I know that Elizabeth will live a life of significance and service to God and others because she already is doing that. I recently learned that Liz's father, a U.S. Navy pilot, was killed when she was 3 years old. Liz was able to attend the Mount through a scholarship provided by the Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation, an organization that has benefited the families of soldiers I knew who also died while serving their country. Liz is the epitome, yes, the epitome of a person of character who lives her life as a model for us to follow. It gives great pleasure to me to introduce to you Liz O'Hare.
Good morning to family, friends, and my fellow members of the class of 2019. It's so wonderful to see your beautiful, shining faces on this morning of our graduation. You all have worked so hard to reach this point, and it's your time to be celebrated. I'm so deeply humbled to be standing in front of you all on this very special day, so thank you for this opportunity to speak. I want everyone to close their eyes. Do it. Close them. I can see if you don't. I'm right in front. So ask yourself this question: why am I here? Not just at the Mount or at graduation, but why am I alive at this very time, in this very generation, with these specific events happening around the world? You can open your eyes now. For most of my life, I could not answer this question, and still I often wonder what the Lord has planned for me. But my time here at the Mount has taught me that we are here to love and to serve the Lord and those around us at this very moment, in this very particular time. The unique gifts which we have been given are suited to address current problems and to love the people of today in a way that another person cannot. You are needed, and you are integral to the lives of those around you. Now let me ask you another question. What brings you joy? And I don't just mean fleeting feelings of happiness, but what brings you lasting joy? What fills you with indescribable peace and contentment? Through the witness of professors, mentors, and friends at the Mount, as well as the unparalleled opportunity to grow in my faith on this campus, I have come to understand that this lasting joy is attainable in all things, regardless of whether you ace the exam or master that difficult topic in class, even when you're enduring suffering that's hard to overcome. Because joy is a choice. When I wake up anxious, tired, and overwhelmed, or am in the midst of greater trials, I can still choose to be joyful and grateful for the many blessings that I've received. I can still choose to smile at the person passing by me on the sidewalk, whose day may be even worse. And in fact, I may be the only person to smile at them that day. I've heard multiple stories of people who choose to live simply because a stranger smiled at them. And I've realized that in order to find joy in the midst of great suffering, one must first learn to find joy in the little situations. I had to find joy in doing the dishes, in finishing the lab report, in the 10-page essay, in the presentation for chemistry class. And once I learned to find joy in these little things, it became easier to find it in greater suffering. But for now, it starts with a smile. Right now, I want everyone to show me the best smile that they have. Don't be shy, show off your teeth. You guys look great. Now that is the smile which needs to be shared with the world. That is the smile which needs to be seen every day. That is the smile that will change the world in the hearts of those around you. So do you know where you're being called to serve with this joy? What is the Lord calling you to say yes to? 2 summers ago, my friend Caitlin Como and I said yes as we traveled across the world to the Kampong Tom province of Cambodia, a developing country in Southeast Asia. At the children's shelter where we spent our time, there was a little girl who loved to hug us, and I love hugs, so this was really great for me. There was never a moment where she didn't have a smile on her face. The founder of the shelter, Sue, told us that before this little girl came to live there, her family was so poor that they could not afford food. Instead, she was given bags of glue to satisfy her hunger. Yes, bags of glue. This affected her brain development, and she now lives with a mental disability. Yet now this sweet little girl is surrounded by 50 other children who had also escaped poverty and now have house parents. So why did she have this chance? How did she escape the poverty which fed her glue in place of food? And I realized that she was given this chance because of Sue, a faithful and courageous woman who simply said yes to what the Lord was asking of her, despite the fear and uncertainty, which I'm sure were overbearing at times. It was because of Sue's yes that so many children have the chance to live. My time aspiring to a career in medicine has further exemplified the goodness that comes from those who say yes to sacrificing their lives for others. Like President Traynor said, I've had the opportunity to observe many pediatric and fetal surgeries during my time in college, which have profoundly impacted my life. A few years ago, as I stood in the operating room watching a life-saving surgery on a 20-week-old baby in utero, the little baby's hand passed by the video monitor. And everyone in the room had the typical response when you see a baby, and an "aww" spread throughout the whole operating room. In this moment, I saw life. Because of doctors who have dedicated their lives to save these little ones, babies who would normally die are now given a chance to live. How incredible is that? I remember seeing one surgery in particular. A young child had fallen down the stairs and her brain was bleeding. When I walked into the operating room to observe, there were numerous doctors, nurses, and staff running around trying to save the patient's life as she lay on the operating table with her skull wide open. Her life was in the hands of these people, and she was doing everything they could to save her, because they knew she was not just a patient. She was a daughter, she was a friend, she was a grandchild. One day she may be an aunt, a mother, a teacher, a researcher, the first female president, or maybe even a doctor or a nurse like the ones who saved her life. Decades ago, she probably would have died. But because of those who dedicated their own lives to improve medicine, she was given a chance to live. So what do you need to say yes to? What would you do if you were not held back by fear? That often overpowering voice inside that tells you, you are not good enough, you are not smart enough, you are not beautiful enough. For my dad, his yes to serving others cost him his life. He died in a plane crash during a routine training flight while in Naval Test Pilot School when I was 3 years old. Are you willing to say yes, even if it means giving your life? Because sometimes that is exactly what our yes means. Maybe you are not called to travel across the world and give your life as a missionary or become a doctor and serve in medicine. But each and every one of us is called to use the unique gifts which we have been given to serve the Lord and improve the lives of those around us. Because, my friends, time alone does not fix problems. It is you and I who fix the problems. It was doctors and researchers who spent hours in the operating room, at the lab bench, and on the computer reading papers, who have made life-saving treatments such as the ones I mentioned possible. It was the woman who left her comfortable home in America to start a shelter and school for impoverished children in Cambodia. It was my dad, like many other Americans, who left his family each morning to go to work and serve this country, ultimately giving his life so that we may live in safety. We have each been given unique and incredible gifts that can change the world. So how will you serve? Class of 2019. Sometimes I really wonder how we survived amidst these crazy and busy years, trying to juggle papers, projects, exams, quizzes, presentations, you name it. We've been through a lot together as a class. College has taught me when to be a student, when to be a friend, and when to be asleep. Have you ever taken a 3-minute nap before? College taught me that too. But in all seriousness, the challenges that have put before us these past 4 years at the Mount have prepared us to walk across this stage today and not only receive a piece of paper, but to celebrate our hard-earned accomplishments at this university. This degree is a symbol of years of hard work that have allowed us to take our gifts and bring them to the world. We are truly blessed to be a part of the Mount community, where our professors are also our mentors, our classmates are also our friends, and for many of us, our curriculum is also our faith. Through our liberal arts education, we've learned how to be critical thinkers and to serve others with our many gifts and talents and our intellect. We have grasped what it means to be ethical leaders and fight for the inclusion of all races, genders, and ethnicities. We deeply understand our mission to protect human life, from the 5-week-old baby in utero to the 80-year-old man in the nursing home. The Mount has taught us to recognize the dignity of other human beings through civil and respectful dialogue, even when one disagrees with the view of another. We have been called to greatness by this university. So thank you, Mount St. Mary's, for forming us into leaders who are ready to serve the world with love. Thank you, faculty and staff, who have constantly challenged us to grow and become better. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your beautiful smiles with me. Thank you for teaching me so much throughout my years here. I have been so greatly blessed to know you all, and will continue to pray that you become the ethical leaders whom you are called to be. So I leave you with this thought. Start every day with gratefulness, and you will never be disappointed. Because when we are grateful for the many blessings that we already have, everything else is just an extra gift. In a little over an hour, we will no longer be Mount students, we will be Mount alumni. So congratulations to my fellow members of the class of 2019. Let's take our gifts and share them joyfully with the world. Let's give ourselves so that others may live.